Good morning everyone. This is teacher Sidra from the Wave Private School. Today our topic is latent heat. This is grade 9 physics chapter number 10 and you will find this topic in the course book page 117 and 144. In this topic we have some objectives. First of all, we will see changes of states, then boiling point and melting point. After that, specific latent heat of fusion, specific latent heat of vaporization, equation for specific latent heat, and at the end we will see the experiment in which measuring latent heat. Now let's move and see that changes of state. We know this thing that matter exists in 3 states: solid, liquid and gas. As you can see here, this is solid, or we can say an ice. When solid melts and liquid is formed, it means it changes its state from solid to liquid, and this process is called melting, where solid becomes a liquid. When liquid changes its state and becomes a gas, then this change of state is called vaporization, where liquid becomes gas. When solid changes its state and directly we can say that it becomes a gas, then this process is called sublimation. On the other hand, if we see that if we condense this gas or cool down this gas, then this process is called from gas to liquid is called condensation. And from liquid to solid, if we cool down, then liquid changes its state and becomes a solid, then this state is called freezing. So, energy must be supplied to a substance to melt it or to boil it. We know this thing, that energy supplied to a substance to melt it or to boil it, or we can say to make it its change state. This energy does not increase substance temperature and is known as latent heat. Latent means hidden. So change its state from solid to liquid or from liquid to gas, energy must be supplied. And this supplied energy is known as latent heat, where temperature remains constant. To understand this thing, just see this graph. For example, if we see that ice is in the freezer, where temperature is below 0 degree centigrade, and we know this thing that ice is solid. In a deep freezer, its temperature was below 0 degree centigrade. At that point, when it comes out of the freezer and it starts melting, its temperature is at 0 degree centigrade, and then it starts to melt. Then it's changed its state from ice to water. It means it becomes solid to liquid. Then this process is called melting, and in this situation its temperature remains same. As you can see here, on the y-axis we took the temperature, and on the x-axis we take the temperature, we take the time. So from solid to liquid, its temperature remains same. Now we started to increase the temperature. As we will go upside, it means temperature is increasing with the time. So now here it was liquid. Now liquid starts to increase temperature. At 100 degrees centigrade, it was the boiling point of the water. This 100 degrees centigrade was the boiling point of the water. When it goes to the 100 degrees centigrade, then water changes its state to vapors. Then this process is called from liquid to vapor boiling. This process is called boiling. So here we know that temperature, as you can see, temperature also remains same when it changes its state from liquid to vapor. So after that, these vapors will go into the air when we increase the temperature. So from this graph, we understand that when we increase the temperature, when it changes its state from solid to liquid or from liquid to vapor, then temperature remains same. This is known as changes of state. Now let's move. That is specific latent heat of fusion. What does it mean? Energy per kilogram required to cause a substance to change state from solid to liquid at its melting point. Energy from solid to liquid to change its state, energy per kilogram required. It means that this process is called specific latent heat of fusion. And here fusion means melting. So melting means from solid to liquid. And one more thing, what is the meaning of specific? Where you can see the specific, then you know that specific means mass of unit. It means mass of 1 kg. So energy per kg needed to change its state from solid to liquid. As you can see here, from solid to liquid, this process is called latent heat of fusion. In solid, particles vibrate about their mean position as they are fixed. But when it melts and changes its state from solid to liquid, then particles vibrate and move among each other as there are spaces between them. So energy supplied to change its state per kilogram energy, then it is called specific latent heat of fusion. Fusion means melting. Now specific latent heat of vaporization. The energy per kilogram required to cause a substance to change state from liquid to gas at its boiling point. We know that vaporization means from liquid to gas, and this process is called its boiling point. Here specific means that it relates to unit mass, that is 1 kg, and vaporization means boiling. So now up till it is clear that when liquid changes its state from liquid to gas, then this process is called boiling point, and when it changes into gas, then this process is called latent heat of vaporization. As you can see here, in case of liquid, particles vibrate among each other, but when it becomes gas after vaporization or becomes vapors, then particles move freely at high speeds. So in this situation where liquid to gas changes its state, then it is called latent heat of vaporization. So now let's move and see what is the equation for latent heat. Energy required is equal to mass multiplied by specific latent heat. Energy is equal to M into L, where M is equal to mass and L is equal to specific latent heat. This equation can be used for both fusion and vaporization. So where L is called specific latent heat of fusion and specific latent heat of vaporization. This equation can be used for both fusion and vaporization. By using this equation, you can solve your for numericals or questions where if mass is given and specific latent heat is given, then you can get the energy. Now let's move and see that how to measure the latent heat. To determine the specific latent heat of a substance, 1 kg of substance must be heated until it entirely changes its state. The amount of energy supplied must be measured. Then specific latent heat is equal to energy supplied per mass. This is the formula for specific latent heat measurement. For example, if you want to measure the specific latent heat, then we take the mass of ice at 0 degree centigrade, and this ice we want to add into the warm water, and this is the warm water, and this warm water is present in an insulated copper container. When this ice melted and changes its state from solid to liquid, then temperature of the water is measured. When it changes from solid to liquid, then we will measure the temperature of the water. By knowing the specific capacities of water and ice, we can measure the latent heat. If we know the latent heat of water and this copper container, then we can measure the energy supplied, as we know the mass of water and mass of ice. So by knowing the mass of water and specific capacities of water, we can measure the energy supplied or lost of heat. So in this way we can measure the latent heat per kilogram. Up till now clear? So this is the end of our lecture.